Hi, folks. This is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I called my buddy Mike Bean, who fishes for crappies this time of the year. Now, Mike's a tournament fisherman, and he's been a great friend. I talk about him often. I said, Mike, look, is there still any fishing? Are you still going out? He said, it's funny you say that because I had my last fishing of the year this weekend, and now I've put my boat away. And he was on Black Lake. Mike fishes that for crappies a lot. And I said, was there anybody else out fishing? Did you see anyone else out? He said, no. He said, and it took me a while, but I finally found a school of crappies, and I did really well. And if Mike said he did really well, he did really well. He's helped me a lot in the past, and I know what an honest person he is. If any of us fishermen are totally honest, that's still up for debate. But that's pretty much the reports that I've had of fishing right now, other than, again, down there in the Salmon River area for trout and salmon. But what's more important to me is that this is still a time for fishermen to really take advantage of the moments that they have where they can plan what they're going to do next year. Now, I'm still trying, but as I speak to you, if the temperature goes much lower, I'm not going to be able to fish for northern pike in the places that I fish for, along the shore, in the bays, because the bays of the St. Lawrence River are going to be the first ones where surface ice starts to form. There isn't the current, the movement there. They're more sheltered, so you don't get the wind whipping up the surface the same, and the freezing can take place much easier. So I still can go out and do that as long as I have open water to cast to. So what happens when you cast? Obviously, that water is so close to icing over that it's cold. I mean, it's close to freezing. And so those fish are not going to react the same. They're not going to move the same. They're part frozen themselves. And so in my case, I'm casting a bucktail jig, but I have to work it completely differently than I would in the warmer part of the year. Those fish aren't going to react. They're not going to chase it the same. And when they strike it, that jig pretty much has to come in to where they're laying low, and they see it and they react to it. They're not going to chase it hardly at all. So the speed at which I work it has got to slow down. Everything has got to be slower. But there's still, we don't know what's going to happen the rest of December. We could get a warm front move in, could get that water open. And this is the beauty of fishing for these species, because they do come in to where we can fish for them along shore. And I've caught northern pike up until the beginning of January in some years. Again, it just depends on when ice forms. But my recommendation for doing this, you're not going to do well if you use a bait that you cast out and reel in and have the bait make its action, because then they have to chase it. And what I'm saying is a spinner bait, a inline spinner, any kind of crankbait, or anything that requires you to reel it in for it to be effective. The baits that will be effective are those that we can throw out, let just sort of move a little bit in the water, stay in that one position, move it slowly back. That's the best way to catch these fish this time of year. And you might think, well, what's the fun in that? Well, anytime you can get out fishing, and anytime you can find a way to match wits, if such a thing exists, with those fish, then there's fun just in being part of it and just being out there. It's an excuse to stay outdoors, because the winter can be long. And if we don't have ways of enjoying being out there, then it can become an awful lot longer. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.